and I don't blame them. I don't blame Michigan one bit for making the move. And probably could have done it a little bit earlier. I mean,
Yeah, like first
yeah,
game of
yeah,
the season.
Yeah.
because they know what they can be. And I agree. I figured you were going to bring up their pace, Rain Man, because you know that they were so good last year because of that pace that they used to play in. They like to
Mm-hmm.
go warp speed, and uh, and we were talking about them not using, like you just said, they're not utilizing their stars. They're not using Bear Johnson at all. We saw what he could do in Dallas when they made him a key part of the offense. And I feel like if Michigan really, really, really wants to be competitive, they need to start. They need to put Bear Johnson in that. Maybe not first option, maybe not second option, but he needs to be third option. He shouldn't. And shout out to Petey Wheatstraw. He's having a crazy year, but Bear Johnson and Petey Wheatstraw, I mean, Bear Johnson should not be the option behind Petey Wheatstraw in any sense of it. So I can understand Chuck Turner, and I can understand maybe even McGinty being part of their offense if they should probably start utilizing him more.
Mhm.
But okay, he's already dead. Okay, all right.
I think that's
We
our
respect
cue.
Big J.
We got
We
to
respect Big
we
J. PG. Okay,
we gonna leave that right
yeah.
there. All right, Ray, man. Here we go. Right here. What I'm about to say here. Oakland, Albuquerque, 82-118. Let's get your thoughts on this one.
Let me first start off by saying I sincerely apologize for you know my thought and everything. I don't think I'm going to go against Albuquerque no more. You know, I think they're going to be my pick for the rest of the season. I don't care who they play. Man, I wanted to arrest Oakland. I wanted to arrest them, handcuff them, and probably just drop them off into a river or something. But they did not show up to this game. Maybe they drunk too much beer, the night before or something. They did not come to play. When Albuquerque took off, they didn't even look in the mirror to see where they was at. They just kept going. I'm saying how how could you not guard the 3-point line? How could you not take the perimeter away from Albuquerque? Where was Stink at? Can anybody tell me that? Where was Stink that game?
Mm.
Locked up. We locked
Yep.
them up, sir.
I was one of the ones trying to say, what's the number to 911? I'm saying this game was over from the start. I'm telling you, when you look at the bench production, I don't even know how y'all came out to do that. Brent Lane off the bench. I'm talking about threes from out of nowhere. A 39-point lead.
Mm, mm.
Could y'all made it a 42-point lead if y'all wanted to? I'm pretty sure y'all could have. I'm saying they rebounded pretty good. They blocked pretty good, but they didn't show up. With the real Oakland, please stand up. Please. Everybody put y'all said last week Oakland will be in the playoffs. I told you Oakland would miss the playoffs. And I'm standing by that because you actually seen the real Oakland when they played y'all.
Mm.
Dang.
Oakland is imposters.
Ooh.
There you have it.
No, I mean, me and Ingram talked about that
You
kind
can't
of
keep getting
casually.
away with it.
We talked about, Oakland, their roster, although very similar to what it was last year for them to have the playoff run.
Mhm. In
It's
addition to
still
Clank
it's
Thompson, who had a great game.
Oh
He
yeah,
did.
Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson had a great game. Uh, and I wrote about this in my write up that should be coming out tomorrow. Hopefully, praise Jesus. Um, But yeah, no. Right now we're kind of seeing Oakland. They're just doing too much. They're just doing way too much. They're not. They're not. Right now we're seeing Stank defer. He's passing the ball. He's not doing Stank things. He's not forcing people to guard him. I was expecting Stank to have kind of like the year that Riggins was having, is ISO, force people to guard you one on one because they can't stop you, and put teams in the bind, force teams to be perfect. And Oakland is doing like the opposite. Shout out to Clank Thompson, but
Hmm.
still, that's very different than what got them to the championship and allowed them to cruise in the championship last season.
Hmm.
Um, and they can play team basketball, but um, to me, it's kind of like Seattle. Is your team too balanced? Are you trying to get too many people involved? You're trying to break in Clank Thompson. You're still trying to get Dane Jones to get his shots. Now you've got Clank. I mean, now you've got uh, Kolakovic off the bench. You're inserting him now you're putting him in and out of the starting lineup. You're trying to get Javad Storm touches. You're trying to get Gleasack touches. Monty Clark, you're trying to get him to get that little pick and pop three that he likes to get, and then let him get rebounds. Then you're trying to break in Skylar Stevens and get Skylar Stevens and Jason. It's too many
Too much.
players. You gotta make a decision. You gotta make a decision. Like, hey, do we want the ball to be in Stank's hands at the end of the game, or do we want him to pass it to somebody else to try to win the game in the end?
Right.
I don't know what's up with them right now. Um, so right now they're just not playing well. Well, I just got to accept that Rain Man is right. Maybe this is Oakland basketball. Maybe this is what it is. Maybe last year was the fluke. I don't know. It's hard to accept, but it might be the truth.
Yeah, it's the truth. And
Right.
I seen it close up and personal.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say I was very disappointed in Oakland's play, but actually I'm not. I am
Mm-hmm.
not disappointed in their play. I really feel last year, if it wasn't from the press, I don't think Oakland would be where they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
They won a lot of games because of the press last season. And you take that away from them, they just an ordinary team.
Dang.
Well.
Ordinary team with a Clank Thompson.
Well, a clank clank.
Hey, somebody in the chat done said Rayman done showed up and done turned into the Bayless of the GSB.
um,
I, I just want to be truthful. Like, hey, I'm telling you, they play horrible. They
Yeah.
play horrible. Um, I won't be surprised. It's a coaching change coming soon.
mm,
Mm. Well.
Sign,
uh-oh.
sign Jason Breeze.
It
Oh.
sounds like y'all know something I don't.
Hey, look for it. It's gonna be a coaching change.
All right.
Hey, we definitely gonna look for it and see what's gonna be happening here. Now back to the get. All right, so we all caught up now. So Rayman, when you came in, we was talking about this Ohio Virginia game. With
Mm-hmm.
Ohio winning that game 121-82. Let's get your thoughts on that game.
Ohio's on the run. Ohio's on the run right now. They actually looking like they're playing playoff basketball, even though they play. I want to call it a mediocre team and everything, but they're playing playoff basketball right now, and
Mm.
it's only 8 weeks in. Um, I heard Muddy Blunt's name a couple of times, this game, and I I'm not gonna say I hate that name, but I dislike that name.
Here we
Uh,
go.
but he played good. As you see, Ohio controlled the whole game. I'm talking about from the whole stat line. You know,
Mhm.
at least Virginia did win the team fouls. So that's positive. That's positive. Time of possession, that's positive. And if they take that into account, I think they did pretty good on that level. They won. Did they win the tip off?
That's a
That
good
might have been the
question.
only thing they won, I
I
think.
don't know.
They didn't win the tip off.
I have no idea.
If they didn't win the tip off,
Let me
they didn't win nothing.
let me go back and look here real quick, 'cause now you got me curious.
I gotta start watching games just to see who was. We're gonna have to do that next week.
We, go- we,
Is have all the teams by if they won the tip offs or not. Have that category ready to go.
let me see.
Call it
But that's the only
the
way they
Rain Man stat.
that's the only way I can see Virginia at least taking something positive home, man. We started off the game good. We won the tip off.
Let me see.
You know?
I got it on the game right now. I'm just waiting for this ad to finish. I gotta see.
That's a damn shame.
A damn shame, man. I mean, hold on,
Well, we gotta look at because it's a good point.
hold
It's a
on,
good point. Shoot,
hold on. Let me see. I
if they
gotta
didn't win the
see.
tip off, they didn't win anything. Oh
I gotta
no.
see. I gotta see. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. It's already looking bad. They didn't win the tip off. They didn't win the tip off.
Oh no.
Oh no. It was over. It sounded like from when the ref blew the whistle. In other words.
Oh no. The moment they stepped on the court, man, it was over.
Oh man.
Ref, hey, ref was like, hey y'all, game over. We see it happening right now.
Oh man. Okay, we gotta move on.
I'm talking about they was raining threes.
Oh man. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. Right, let's move on. Alright. We got Vice
That was a
City and
thing.
we got Dallas here. I got some highlights for that game as well here. So let's go on
All
ahead.
right.
Played in Dallas. I can't get over that. I really can't. All right, let's get into it, man. Here we go. Kanan Abel coming out, shooting the three to start off the game. Dallas scores first. And then Kanan Abel again. Splash. Scores again. Kanan Abel doing Kanan Abel things.
I'm talking about splash.
Then over to Tyler Deathridge. Knocking it down here, trying to get them back into the game. Tyler Deathridge again. Got him. Give me 1 second. Okay, it's just not working. It's all good. All right. So they score again right there. Then here we go. Out to Tyler Deathridge. Another three. Tyler Deathridge definitely tried to get them back into this game here. A little bit later in the second quarter, Tyree just basically bullying that defender right there and scoring easy. 20-36. Then Tyler Deathridge once again trying to wheel Vice City into it, making that. Then we got Luke Boudreaux over to Cameron Kane. He's going to get a screen, pull up, knocks it down, gets the lead up to 17. Vice City still trying to fight into it though. Here we go. Nice little move and nice little slam right there. As we look at it again on the replay,
Ooh,
that was beautiful.
it
That was just
was.
beautiful. And then here we go again. Vice City pull up, knocks it down, gets the game 38-54. That was Zima Blue. Then here we go. Dallas just blazing threes right there, knocks it down, makes the score 40-57. Then later on, here we go. Shirley Jello can't hit, just blaze right there to put it back up. It extends the lead here 54-59. Later on in the third quarter, just blaze again, knocks down the three, and it's starting to get a little bit ugly in Dallas here. But Emmanuel Blackman knocks down a three right there, 55-70. Later on in the third quarter, Emmanuel Blackman again, another one, and gets the game actually within 10 right here. Vice City really
Mhm.
tries to battle back here. But then, here we go. Perry Pinkert hits that three and takes the game back up to 13. Then Dallas just takes over right here. Perry Pinkert again takes it in himself, 62-81, and then B Fazo still so good. Meet Blackman once again from the 3 point line, knocks it down, makes it 65-81. But in the end, Dallas is going to win it 86-101. Let's get y'all
Mm.
thoughts about it, gamers. Let's start with you.
Ah, man, Dallas is scary. Um, right now they're playing with confidence. They're
Mm-hmm.
playing with confidence, and I think that's more. That's the scariest thing about it is they didn't have to do any trades. I mean, they did trade somebody. I think they got
They
rid of
trade,
Kennard, but
yeah.
still, they didn't have to do any trades, anything crazy. No, they just had to get their mojo back and find a system that they know that they can win with, and they're on a roll, man. I'll be honest. I was hoping that Vice City could have made this game a little bit more competitive. I mean, we need somebody to kind of bring Dallas back because right now they're trying to dark horse their way into the playoffs, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not going to be a fun first round matchup for anybody because they have all the pieces. They're getting the most that they can out of Tavian Tyree,
Mm-hmm.
who wanted out of Kentucky so bad, which Kentucky is the hottest team in the league right now. So maybe that wasn't the best decision, but I mean, he's doing so well for Dallas. I mean, and Dallas is just getting so much out of everybody on the roster right now. Kanan Abel, he can get you 25 points. Just Blaze is hitting shots and doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Tariq Lowe, Luke Boudreau. I mean, they have a list of guys that this was a really, really, really good team last year, and I'm sure it was very, very, very unexpected for Mayor Johnson to depart the way he did. They were not expecting that one bit. We talked to them kind of after it happened. I talked to Glass about it, and it's just one of those things where yeah, he had to make that decision kind of at the last second, but they were not expecting that one bit, and it might have been the best thing for them this year is them to get back to a system that they don't really have to think too much about what to do with Bear Johnson. They know they can give it to Canaan Abel. They know they can give it to, Pinkert now, Pookie Seymour, all these guys that are just taking all kinds of crazy steps. I mean, Perry Pinkert is looking like a completely different player this year because of added, space for them to put him into the game plan, and he's just taking off the role and just running.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Dallas is scary right now. And I don't want to say I was rooting against them. I just I just see the scenario of them getting into the playoffs and knocking somebody out in the first round and being like, man, well, yep, because you're playing against a team that is on fire. They don't want to lose.
Right.
Some people want to win. Some people just hate losing. I think Dallas hates losing more than more than they love winning because man, they are on a tear right now. And it's not just the win that they're winning; it's that they don't want to look bad either. So I mean, this game was crazy. They had a 30-point lead at one point, or is that 20-point lead at one point
Mm-hmm.
against Vice City. And they were. Did I watch this game? Did I call it? I think I called this game, or no, I watched some of it. But they were shutting down Vice City, um, shutting down Vice City's pick and roll all night. I mean, I think you told me, Ingram, like the coaches were complaining about it or whatever because it was like, what? Like all of a sudden, Vice City couldn't do anything. I mean, their bread and butter, which is getting in the paint, you know, working Pedraza, using Deathridge. I mean, Deathridge had a good game, but they still were way off of their game plan because of what Dallas is now doing on defense as well. So they could have won this game they could have scored 90 and won this game, which is scary that they were able to hold Vice City to, I mean, less than 90. I mean, Vice City has so many weapons. Lima Blue, Ali, you got all these guys. Um, just a crazy game. I'm ranting, so y'all go.
Go ahead, Rayman.
I'm still shocked. I'm just in shock.
Well, I feel Vice City need to take the crown off their head,
Mm.
and right now they're looking like the cowardly lion because they cowered out that game. They didn't come to play like they should have. You know, they looked like Mufasa at one point. Now they're looking like the cowardly lion.
Mm,
At the next point. Um, but Dallas is, yes, you're right, clicking on all cylinders. And you made a point last week saying Dallas had a plus 62 last week.
I believe so.
Mm.
I'm saying this really just adds on to it, you know. So if it came down to a scenario with going by points, Dallas would get in just by that.
Hmm.
You know, they I don't know. I just look at Dallas like you said as being a scary team. Um, I'm glad we played them early during the season when they didn't look like this.
Yep.
Hmm.
You know,
Yep.
geez, I'm saying I hate to be the one behind the blowout like this. So Vice City needs to get it together, and if they ever come to play like they used to, then you know maybe they won't be on the operating table.
Hmm.
Cause right now they're like New York, they're on the operating table. I'm sorry. The only difference is they can be reciprocated. So um, the stats didn't look that bad. Just looking at the stats right now,
Hmm.
it looked like it could have been an even ball game, but I guess Dallas did something different.
Hmm.
Outplay them. Just like you said, just imagine if they did keep Kerner and Barrett Johnson. How scary this team really would have been right now.
Mm.
Man.
Super scary.
Oh,
Right now they'll be like Kentucky.
yeah, it would be
Hmm.
awful. Shout out to Kentucky.
Hmm. But check this out, though.
Um,
You got a team
I'm listening.
of Vice City who has Al Pedraza, Zima Blue, King
Mm.
James II,
Yep, I couldn't
Shiloh
think of his name.
Marino, who gave us problems when we played him,
Mm-hmm.
Billy
Mm-hmm.
Bob Buckley, Tyler Dethers, B. Fazo. All these guys are elite players. But when your bench come out and play better than your elite players, you know there's a
Mm.
problem going on in Vice City.
I agree.
I've been
Could be
saying
some.
this, and I'm going to continue saying this until a team prove me otherwise. Dallas is one of the hottest teams right now. They got off to a slow start. They figured out what they were doing wrong, and they fixed it. And they have been on a tear ever since. And I don't see that streak ending anytime soon. It might come to an end when they play New Orleans, but for right now, I don't see it coming to an end. I mean, well, they got Michigan next week, so that should be an easy win for them. But the real test is going to be if Dallas is legit, is when they play Ohio, when they play New Orleans, when they play Kentucky, in after they play Michigan this week. Those three games are really going to be the test. But if they come out on top of those three games, then we know Dallas is legit now, and we can just throw away how the beginning of their season started. Um,
Mhm.
Dallas, Dallas did what Dallas needed to do during this game. I mean, you had Canaan Abel come out and score 25 points, made all four of his 3 pointers in the game. Just Blaze, 17 points, 3 of 4, 75% from the 3 point line. You got these guys from Dallas that's contributing right now. Five of their players on Dallas team was in double digits during this game, and the other ones was, of course, the bench, and the bench had 39 points. But Dallas did what they needed to do. Dallas is on a tear right now. We're gonna see after this game with Michigan, though, can they keep it up? Because I'm already calling they're gonna beat Michigan. But those next 3 games after Michigan is going to be crucial to see if Dallas can keep this run happening, though. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, hey, well, you said it like it is. I'm saying that one of the hardest teams.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I'm saying when you calling out their starting lineup like that, man. You know, I'm sitting over here, got my hand on my chin, like, how in the world we gonna stop them now? You know,
Hmm.
you can't, you ain't just gonna go. You gotta actually beat Dallas at their own game. You gotta outrun Dallas.
Right.
If you ain't gonna outrun them, then you ain't gonna outgun them.
Hmm. That's it.
Bars, bars.
That's it. That is it right there. And on that note, let's move to the next one. We're gonna keep it pushing. Y'all watching Mission to Mars podcast out in the third in the booth where we are bad gamers and Rain Man, all of us here today. But we're gonna keep it pushing to the next game here. We got a rematch from last week. New York Skyliners versus the Boston Militia. Didn't get any highlights for this one. But
Beep,
Boston pulls it out 111
beep,
to 88. And I
beep,
think Gamers are going to start this one off.
beep. Dead, dead, cooked, roasted. Whatever the kids say nowadays. I told y'all, Boston listened to our podcast. They said we want to be the ones that kill a franchise. We want to be the ones. Everybody was talking trash about Boston last year. Oh, their expansion team, but they might be better. No, Boston went ahead and took care of one of the old franchises in the league. Just came in, just said, you know what, you guys will never be above us now. And this is started. This feels like a rivalry
Hmm.
because they didn't have to do them the way they did in this game.
Man.
But I don't know. Just I echo my point last week. New York just I don't know. We've seen them. I mean we've partially seen this coming since last year.
Hmm.
Last season they got in the playoffs only because they were better than they had three expansion teams in their conference, and they got what 5 wins or 4 wins, whatever they did. They got enough wins in their conference to be in the playoffs, and maybe they hung their hat on that and said, "Oh, we're a playoff team." No, they needed to get to the drawing board to realize that that was not a good team, and they could have been trying to improve themselves. And maybe they did. They got Ivory, and they got rid of Savage, who is looking like a completely different player again, back to old Savage. But um, I don't know, man. I feel bad for New York because they shouldn't be. I mean, they should be doing better than this, and they just aren't. They're getting embarrassed. This was an embarrassing game.
Hmm.
This was a embarrassing game from start to finish, and Boston. It just looked like Boston was like beating up against the JV team. That's what it looked like. So, um, I hope they figure it out, but they'll figure it out next year because probably won't figure it out this season.
Rain Man, what you think?
Well, let me go ahead and give my eulogy because I'm gonna give New York a good eulogy right now. You know, this team was New York was a good team in season one. They started falling a little short in season two. We knew something was wrong. Season three come along right now. We already knew they wasn't gonna make it. They going up to the upper room.
I almost started doing the
Man,
old church hymns while you was doing your eulogy just now. Just keep on going. I'm gonna come in with you. I'm gonna come in with you.
They didn't know what to do out there. We seen them come. We seen them go.
The sound.
They're gonna have that big basketball up in the sky, that big court up in the sky. They're the second team I seen that go up there. I'm waving to Virginia. Now I'm waving to New York. They need to bring the Lady Liberty to know it. I gotta give it up to Boston though. DeMar, 16 rebounds. He didn't score that many points, and he didn't really have to. Uh, points in the paint, points in the paint, 56, and I think only 6 or 8 came from DeMar. Is that saying something? 62 points from just the bench. I'm telling you, the bench could have just basically played against their whole team.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel sorry for New York because they're very guard heavy. They're very guard heavy. They depend on their guards so much to do everything. And it would just be good to see New York play through their bigs. Play through their bigs. Play through somebody else. Don't just use an Ivory and even though they need to use Ant should have scored all 88 points, but geez, you had to share the ball. You know, I'm just gonna take off my suit right now. Jeez, disappointing for New York. Disappointment.
New York, New York, New York. What is going on in New York? You flatlined, and then you was just giving a eulogy. Now it's time for the committal because we're committing the whole New York team to the ground right now. Earth to
Mm.
earth, ashes to ashes,
Yes, sir.
dust to dust. But the
Mm.
only one who can rise from the ground right now and can probably resurrect this New York team is who I've been saying the whole time, Sarah Counterman.
Mm.
She is the only
Pretty.
one on this team who can play at an MVP level at any moment. Robert Ivory, he can too. But right now he's laying. And he's flatlined. So if you're in New York, get ready to be resurrected again in season 4. Because I see a lot of changes coming in your future. And some of y'all are not going to stay. Some of y'all will be leaving for a second chance. But as far as y'all other ones, y'all got to go. And let the church say amen.
Get them out of here.
I'm gonna miss you, New York. I'm gonna miss you.
Right.
No, I'm not.
y'all,
No, I'm not. I'm just
y'all
lying.
crazy, man. Hey, moving on to the next game here. We got Seattle and Baltimore in what can
Mm.
only be described as
Flawless victory.
Seattle
Wow.
wins 111-78. Baltimore losing their last 2 games, I want to say.
hmm
Yeah.
we all called it.
Mm-hmm.
And, yep.
Mm-hmm. What's going on with them gamers? Let's start with you.
People figured them out. People. They showed their cards against us. We sadly were on the bad end of them showing how they operate, and we didn't have a good read because they were
I'm
they
gonna be
were
right
they were
back, y'all.
dominating people in different ways to start the season, and then I think people started figuring that out, so they realized they had to really, really uh, kind of fall back on the only strategy that they could think of, which is using Huxley and using Riggins. And if you could just so happen to slow one of those two down, you can't really slow down both of them. But if you could slow down one or two of them, you start to realize that Baltimore doesn't have the firepower that everybody else in the league does because of how they how because of the composition of their team. They don't want to shoot. They don't want to get into a shootout. They want you to go slow. They want you to play at this slow pace where they can dictate what you can and can't do. It makes me think of Luke. He likes to be methodical. He wants to be the one to control and break you down. And if you take that element away from them, then this is the result. This is the result. This is what Oakland did. Oakland did the same thing. They used Stank, and Stank controlled the game from start to finish. He said, "Nope, let's speed up right now." He said, "Oh no, let's slow it down. I'm gonna get the shot I want right now." Okay, no, let's go fast again. I'm gonna alley oop it to Gleasack. I'm gonna pass it over to Clank. Clank's gonna knock it down. That's what Oakland did. Seattle, Carbon. We're in the copycat league. You say that all the time, Ingram. We're in the copycat league.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle did the same type of game plan in their way. It wasn't the same exact thing, but they did a similar game plan their way. They controlled the game the way they know how to control the game, which is by getting it in the paint. Getting it in the paint. I wrote about it in my write up that's coming out tomorrow. They've got three centers on Seattle's roster. I think Seattle's the only roster that has three official centers. They don't even have an official point guard on the roster. And he got two shooting guards, I think two small forwards, three centers, and the rest of the math I can't figure out. But there's like two more players. I'm not going to try to do the math. Either way, they said we can control this game in the paint. We can force Baltimore to defend us every possession, and that's what they did. So whether it was Jim C. Williams, whether it was Mario Medici, whether it was Nick Hill doing Nick Hill things, whether they had I think they have Quan there now who can step out and make a three. Odin can make shots like the best of them as well. But Seattle said we're going to control this game in the paint. We're going to see what Jamal Davis is all about since Baltimore likes to blow him up as being the best defensive center in the league. We're going to put him in bad positions to make him have to be perfect. And whew, we're going to make Thomas LeClaire have to be perfect. He's going to have to do something he hasn't really had to do all season long. He's going to have to defend in the paint against people that are 7'3", bigger, faster, and taller than him. So excellent game plan by Seattle. I'm assuming they upped their pace a little bit too because they're another team that likes to go slow. They like to take their time, and I think they felt that they could get out and run and outpace Baltimore, not let Baltimore have enough time to set up their defense, and not really focus too much on pick and roll, which is where Baltimore wants to clog you up. They want to be able to switch in the pick and roll, stop your best player with their best defender. And Seattle says, no, we're just going to throw the ball into the paint, into the post, and we're going to let our centers go to work. So, very impressive game. I was surprised to see the score be the way it is, but still, they were able to shut down anything Baltimore wanted to do on offense, and then also exploit their bread and butter, which has been their defense. So, wow, Rayman, you called it. Seattle. Woo,
I,
they yeah. Woo.
I told you they will be in the playoffs. This
Mm-hmm.
team will be in the playoffs, and
Mm,
they would go slow and steady.
mm,
And Baltimore wasn't ready for that.
mm,
Baltimore was not ready for. They was looking for Seattle to try to really beat them on the outside. But that's
mm,
not Seattle's really game. That's not their game. Seattle did what Seattle do is go through their bigs, which I'm trying to say why New York should have went through their bigs, but Seattle goes to their bigs. They actually know how to use their bigs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, They really have a good team, and look how they shared the ball. 42 assists.
Mm,
Mm.
mm.
And
Shared the ball.
according to that too as well, when I called the game last night with Machera, Brent sent to me as well that he believed that might be a league record as far as teams total assists in a game.
Whew. Oh man, got to rub that
42
one in.
assists. I'm saying, who led their team in assists?
Let's check it out here and let's see. Give me 1 second and I can let you know right about now. Let's see. So for Baltimore in assists, no, not Baltimore, Seattle. For
Mm-hmm.
Seattle, it was Nick Hill with 9 assists, Butch Harrison with 7 assists, Coco Raccoon, Mario Medici both had 5. Juan Huyun Chi had 6. Dub Stern
Wow.
had 5, and Steel Stern had 2.
Mm.
And they shared the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They shared the ball like no other. Like, hey, you shoot the ball this time. We're hot right now. You shoot the ball this time. You hot that right now. They shared the ball, and that's what made Seattle out top Baltimore just
Mm-hmm.
by sharing the ball. You take like you were just saying, you can't stop both of them, Riggins and God, what's his name?
Huxley, Riggins and
Huxley.
Huxley.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't stop both of them. But my job right now, I'm going to do my best to shut down Huxley and the rest of the team. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
let Riggins have his way. If Riggins want to
Mm-hmm.
score 42 points, let Riggins go off and score 42 points. Because once you take the team out the game, I know Riggins can't be the hero. Riggins can't be the hero every single game, and he definitely didn't play hero this time.
You know,
Ingrid, what you think?
hold on,
He
give me
putting
one.
on this Stephen A. Smith. Oh gosh.
You know, I must say this, and I'm gonna say it. I have never seen. Now, keep in mind, this is GSB. We are a CPU versus CPU league. I
Mm-hmm.
have never seen a play in a game where one of the team's players is bringing the ball up court and another CPU comes up to that player and begs to give them the ball. And they didn't and ended up missing the shot. Seattle went back down the court, made it. Then that same CPU who is begging for the ball basically said, forget y'all. I'm going to do this myself. Took the ball up court by himself and scored. In this case, that was Tim Riggins. Tim
Mm.
Riggins should have had the ball and should have scored a lot more than he did last night. Seattle did a great job of containing this man. Tim Riggins only had 9 points in the
Mm.
game. 9.
Are you serious?
That's not a regular Tim Riggins game. He only had 9 points. You know who the leading
Yep.
scorer was for the game? Ronnie Shanahan with 17 points. It
Oh
wasn't even
yes, I
Aldo
remember this
Huxley.
guy. Yeah.
Aldo Huxley only had 13. They held him to 13 points. Seattle
Mm.
had these guys in check the whole time. In Seattle, I'm
Mm.
telling you. And speaking of Seattle, shout out to my man Ted because I told him every time Seattle got a dunk or something, I was going to do this sound right here.
Bruh.
I was going to do that, and I did that a lot last night because Seattle kept going with that bread and butter where they was lobbing it into the center every time and scoring every
Mm.
time. That's how they ended up getting 74 points in the paint, and Baltimore could not do nothing against it. It's like Seattle looked at them at the end of the game when they dunked it that last time and went,
Gang.
Mm.
Blouses.
that's exactly how it was.
Oh my gosh, he was
Seattle
a soundboard. He
Seattle
gonna take
can
me.
Seattle controlled every point of this game from
Mm.
offense to defense. I've never seen a team get 74 points, I believe, in the paint this season against Baltimore. But here's the thing that scares me about Baltimore. Baltimore started on a hot streak last season, and then it just
Hmm.
fell apart. And now it's seeming like this season is getting ready to start being the same. Baltimore
Oh
is
yeah.
too good of a team. They got Tim Riggins, they got Otto Huxley, who's been on an amazing run earlier in the season. They got two guys in that, and then if you can get guys like Thomas LeClaire and Jack Lawson, Jamal Davis to step it up, then Baltimore will be a scary team. That's why I said
I do.
like next week.
Mm.
Next week, I said it last night. Next week is going to be their bounce back week. Not just because
But
they're playing Virginia, not just because they're playing
you
Virginia, but
just brought up an exquisite point.
mm-hmm,
Is I just now really put into perspective that Baltimore doesn't have a big three. I'm not talking about the Kendrick Lamar lyric, but
mm-mm,
all the teams that we know have a big three,
mm-hmm,
and Baltimore really doesn't have a big three, and their big two play the same game.
mm-hmm,
So now they're elite at what they do, but that's a very perplexing point that I never really thought about. That Baltimore only has Tim Riggins and Aldo Huxley, and then every week they have to hope and pray that Tim Riggins and Aldo Huxley can go off, and that the bench can do just enough to overcome uh, some of these other teams. But man,
mm-hmm.
no,
and
you're right, man.
and they
Last year
can't.
Baltimore they started out, they had a hot streak, and then they kind of just got reminded that they were an expansion team.
Mm-hmm. And they can't do it by themselves. Tim Riggins and Aldo Huxley can't do it by themselves. They need that third person to step up. In that
Mm.
game right there, when they played Seattle, 7 of Seattle's players out of 10 got into double digits last night.
Mm.
7 of their 10
Mm.
players got into double
Mm.
digits. Jim C. Williams, 17. Dub Stern, 14. The Dragon, 13. Oder, 13. Stern, 13. Nick Hill, 12. Raccoon, 11. 7 of their 10 players
Mm.
got into double
Mm.
digits.
Mm.
Baltimore has
Man,
got to step it up. They have been exposed
Mm.
because right now all Baltimore can depend on is Riggins and Huxley for them to be able to win games. But it's going to take more than them to be able to win games. You got to have guys like Thomas LeClaire, who I believe is an elite player at the four, who can step up. But he only had 2 points in the game. He and 3 assists. He didn't even have a block or a block in the game. He had 3 rebounds, of course, but he didn't even block like he's used to. Thomas LeClaire, I believe, he played at a more elite level last year than he did this
yes,
year. Erno Romesto
yep,
III, another elite defender, but he hasn't really been able to step up. You got to find more options than Tim Riggins and Aldo Huxley if you plan on making a run when it comes playoff time. If Baltimore don't figure it out right now to get more players instead of their big two involved, then Baltimore is going to be in trouble if they go in the playoffs against a team like Kentucky. Baltimore is going to
Mm.
be in trouble if they go against a team like Dallas in the playoffs. Baltimore is going to
Mm.
be in trouble if they go against Albuquerque in the playoffs. Baltimore is going to
Mm.
be in trouble because more teams is starting to learn as long as you contain Tim Riggins and Otto Huxley, then that's all you need to do to beat Baltimore.
Mm.
Teams didn't figure it out the first few games, but now they are,
Oh, I
and it
mean, we had
yep,
shows.
no idea, and we had been watching Baltimore a lot, preparing for our game, and we had no idea that they were gonna. They got us on the switch that we weren't expecting, that we will be expecting.
Mm-hmm.
We played them again, and then we also didn't know that they were gonna ride Aldo Huxley the way that they did and
Mm-hmm.
put us in a crutch all game long. So we won't let that happen. But man,
Yeah, but
this was a beatdown.
Seattle has always been a defensive team as well, so I
Mm.
wasn't expecting none less. I mean, if they get less than 7 or 8 steals in the game, then something is honestly wrong. But 11
Mm.
steals, 13 blocks, they got 35 boards on defense, and just the 42 points alone. I mean, Seattle is doing what they need to do. But like I said last week, I still think somehow Seattle is going to get knocked out the playoffs. I don't know how, but I think it's going to happen. So we're
Mm,
going to have to
It might
find out.
mm,
come to
If it
the. It might come
happens,
head to head. It might come to the head to head. 'Cause
if it happens,
that means, whew,
I'll tell you so.
that means
If it doesn't
our
happen
next
though,
game against
I will happily
Pitt.
apologize. But
well, you definitely gonna be apologizing.
oh, we're gonna find out because I mean, hey, and I'm trying to bring it up. Look at their next few games. They got Atlantic City the next game, who's going to be looking to bounce back after that loss today to Portland. They're going to be looking to bounce back. Then they got the Otters, another team who's going to be looking to bounce back. Portland looked very good against Atlantic City today, so that's probably going to be the game. They got to play us again. So we're going to see what's going to happen with this Seattle team.
Well, if Seattle gets on another run like they're doing, I don't think you'll be talking about Seattle like you were saying won't be making the playoffs because Seattle is going to be putting somebody out the playoffs.
That's
Mm,
very true. And the way Oakland
mm,
is looking, I mean,
that's true.
it could go
Oakland
either
might
way.
be on the way out.
I said Oakland was probably going to be the team to knock Seattle out, but in all reality, Seattle might be the team to knock Oakland out the way Seattle is playing right now and the way Oakland is struggling. So it could go either way. But hey, like I said, if they make the playoffs, I happily apologize. I will welcome them to the playoffs with open arms. So it's just one of them things we're gonna have to see about here. But yeah, let's keep it rolling here. We got the game today, which was probably to me the game of the week. That was a hell of a
Yes.
game today.
Woo.
Atlantic City, Portland Pioneers. Let's go to some highlights for this game. Yes, gamers, I did get the highlights done in time for this
Oh
game.
snap! That's crazy.
I was on it. But let's go ahead. We are going out here to Portland here. We're gonna start it off. Javier Nunes. He's gonna find Hojars, knocks down the three, and brings it within one. Then we got Puff, who's going to give the ball into Harches. Harches, Spider was a good matchup today here as well. 11
Mhm.
to 8 here. Then moving on, Slimer, Puff, and stuff. Open three, knocks it down. Rashawn Carter, 14 to 11. Moving on here in the first quarter. Check this out. Ricky Spider, three, knocks it down. Gets the game to 6. Atlantic City rolling right now. Moving on here to the second quarter. Dotson gets the ball up court to Carter. Carter inside to Harches, knocks it down, gets the game within 2. 27-25. Moving on to the next play here. Hold Jars out to the corner to Nunez. He's going to knock down that 3 to get the game back within 5. Here we go. Puff again over 3, knocks it down. Nice job, nice assist right there by Puff. Moving on here, Puff again, going to get the ball to Carter. Carter 3, knocks it down, ties the game at 36 apiece. Here, moving forward, second quarter still. Rashadi Ish, he's going to get a screen set for him by Hinkle, and he's going to pull up, knock down a long 2 to actually put Portland up by 2, 40-42. At that point in the second half. Then at the end of the second half, you got Greg Lake doing Greg Lake things. Long 3, knocks it down, puts Atlantic City up at the half here, going into the third quarter. Hojars doing Hojars things, taking it in the paint and knocking it in. 52-48 at that point, moving forward the next possession. They're going to take it in the paint and knock it down. Farrell Dotson with that one. And then moving up again, Harches, Ricky Spider, inside the Slimer for the easy slam, and Pioneers take the lead. Then once again, we got Dotson. He's gonna find Rashadi Ish for the 3 to put Portland up 59-63. Moving forward here in the third quarter, another bang bang play there by Cash Wallace, bringing the game within one here, 64-65. And then Truck Ankles, another lay in, put Atlantic City back up 66-65 at this point in the game. Going to the fourth quarter where it really got interesting. Knocks down that shot to bring Portland within three. At this
Sean
point,
Robinson.
the Sea Dogs have made 5 more pointers than the Pioneers. But then here we go. Another three. Rashadi Ish knocks it down, brings it within one. 79-78. A little bit further into the fourth quarter. Bismack knocks that one down and puts it within three, 83-80 here. Atlantic City up right now. Then later on, here we go. Easy buckets. They knocked that one down to put it up to 5, 87-82. That was Nunez. Then Slimer puffing stuff inside the Dotson with the easy score brings the game within three with 2:20 left to play in the fourth quarter. Next play, they're going to pull up from three and knock it down and tie the game back at 89 apiece. Going forward here, minute 33 left here. Look at that. Pharaoh Dotson slams it down and Portland takes the lead. And here we go again. Slimer with a nice move right there. Nice finish at the rim. Brings it to a 4-point lead right now. And here we go once again. 43 seconds left. They're going to call game right there in scores. Pharaoh Dotson once again 96-89 at that point in the game. Portland looking very good as they beat Atlantic City 94-100 as the final score of this game. Excellent game. And let's start with Rain Man this time, Games. I know you called it, but let's get some input from Rain Man on this one.
Man, gamers have fun calling this game one. I'm talking about he was yelling, he was excited. It went down like you said to the wire. Um, um, Puff and stuff. That man is the opener and he's the closer. He does it all.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing it all out there. I really was. I'm just gonna be honest. I was really pulling for the Sea Dogs this whole game. I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about at one point you seen the Sea Dogs controlling things, and you kept on saying, "Well, oh, I already know who's gonna win this game. I already know they got this game." But
Mm-hmm.
the way Portland kept on battling, and when they took that lead, they knew they had the Sea Dogs on the ropes right there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Jerry's played a great game. Lake came on in the fourth quarter, and when you say Lake was doing Lake things, he made me realize, like, man, that was almost looking like the Jokers, the Lake of the Jokers right there.
Mm-hmm.
Portland, Portland bench, 32 points to their 20. Not bad, but they got 41 defensive rebounds.
Mm.
41 defensive rebounds. That's like they really controlled the board. That's why we keep talking about Atlantic City being a band of misfits.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a lot of they don't have the bigs. They don't have the bigs, but they making it happen. But Portland really saw something in the Sea Dogs, and they knew they were going to take advantage of it, and they came out with the win.
Indeed. Shout out to the Slimer Puff and stuff who had a double double in this game. 14 points, 13 assists in the game. Slimer is one of the best passers in the game, if you ask me. Um, but yeah, I mean, Portland just dominated in the paint in this game. I mean, 50 points in the paint. Atlantic City only had 26. You got to wonder where that inside game is going to come from Atlantic City, because to
Mm.
be able to beat a team, you got to be able to defend well in the paint. In this game, Atlantic City just couldn't defend in the paint. I mean, Braden Harches for the Pioneers had 18.6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 blocks. He played amazing.